For the past weeks now, we've been telling you guys that the Warriors lineup next season will be a problem for the rest of the league. But do you know which team is going to be a legit threat against Dub Nation's ultimate comeback season? Can you take a guess? If the Los Angeles Lakers is your answer, well, I'm afraid to tell you that you got it wrong, buddy. Alright, I'm going to drop some additional hints here. It's not going to be the Nets, nor the Suns, the Bucks, nor the Jazz. On second thought, it's actually an invisible threat that plagued the NBA last season. Now, I know what you're thinking, and no, it's not the pandemic either. The greatest threat to the Warriors' championship aspiration next season is not these teams nor the global pandemic, but it's actually this. Yes, injuries are going to be the biggest enemy for the Warriors in their championship bid, and by the way, the teams that I just mentioned also got a healthy dose of injuries too last season.
It looked like he came down on that ankle, landing on Giannis' foot.
Kyrie went down.
In pain. Oh boy. Holding his
CP3 went down.
Grabs down low, and it's painful because he's going to be walking.
So did AD.
And the crowd just went a little quiet.
And heck, even cyborgs and robots broke down as well. Now, we know the Warriors had their fair share of injuries, but fortunately, Klay is set to return next season, probably around Christmas time or in the early parts of 2022, as per the latest reports, but that can change. With that being said, the last thing the Warriors would want to do is rush Klay back to the court and get injured once again. In an interview, Steve Kerr talked about how they're handling Klay's case, and he said that things are looking positive for Klay in terms of his recovery, but they're still monitoring his progress closely to avoid any missteps. Good news is, really been diligent with his work. He and Rick Celebrini have worked closely all summer. He's right on schedule. He's been on the floor running now for the last few weeks. I think the light is finally at the end of the tunnel. But you know, we get close to the season and he gets closer and closer. We're obviously going to be very, very careful, and we'll lean on the advice of our training staff to let us know when he's ready to play. As much as Warriors fans wanted to see Klay doing things that he had been doing just like before, Klay knows that he isn't going to be in full game shape just yet, and acknowledges that he'll be playing under limited minutes to lessen the chance of re-injuring his knee once again. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't expect to come back and just balls to the wall. 38 minutes a night, guarding the best player, running around 100 screens. I'm going to get to that point, I guarantee that. But I've talked to Rick Celebrini about a lot. It might be 20 minutes to start the season, 18 minutes, like a minute's restriction. We'll see where I'm at. Kerr backed Klay's statement and added he got the full confidence of the Warriors training staff in terms of taking care of Klay in his road to recovery. It's going to be a play-it-by-ear thing. The main thing is he's progressing well. He's in a great frame of mind, in a really good place. It's exciting just to think about him coming back. All the players and coaches are excited. Just to know he's on track is awesome. We'll just see where he is come training camp and trust the training staff to work with him and give us advice that we need, and we'll go from there.
Ball's down, lost the ball. Thompson running the floor, and a foul.
With these taken into account, it's really a good thing that Klay plays from the outside, because that's the last thing he would want to do is attack the lane and dunk the ball, because we know that's how he got injured in the first place. Now, aside from Klay, the Warriors should also take a closer look and be extra careful in taking care of James Wiseman's injury. We all know that their 7 feet, number 2 overall draft pick had an injury-riddled rookie season, which was highlighted by 3 weeks that he missed because of a wrist injury and when he tore his meniscus, which ultimately ended his season for good. Because of these setbacks, Wiseman was only able to suit up for 39 games and only averaged 11.5 points, which we all know could have been higher if it weren't for those injuries. But regardless of the unfortunate circumstance that Wiseman went through in his rookie year, Kerr still believes in his young star's oozing potential and will let him be a part of the starting lineup come next season. We'll start James from opening night and see what he's got and then kind of throw him into the deep end a little bit. I think this year will be much more sort of streamlined. Let's put him in positions where he can really help us on game nights and where he can really help develop him on practices. And as that process goes forward, he'll have a chance to play more and more if he's ready to help us win games. And if not, that's fine. We'll keep developing him because he's 20 years old. I know everybody's impatient and wants him to get great, but it just doesn't work that way. Now, aside from Klay and Wiseman, their new additions have a history of injuries too, so it's really important for them to manage these before things get out of hand. Speaking of new faces on the roster, one of their key additions in the upcoming season is Otto Porter Jr. This was a player who once averaged 14.7 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 2.0 assists at the height of his career during the 2017-2018 season playing for the Wizards. But this seemingly upward trend didn't last long as he was hobbled by a string of injuries in the last 3 years or so. And in fact, Porter missed roughly 70% of his team's games over the past 2 seasons and over 100 games over the past 3 seasons. But despite having those injuries in the past, Porter says that he feels good and looks to get back on track this upcoming season. I'm feeling really good, the body is in good condition, I'm able to actually get in the gym and put in work. It's been tough to do the last couple of years because of COVID, but this year, as the season was over with, actually before the season was over with, I was getting my body in tip-top shape. He also doesn't care about his role in the rotation, and as a seasoned veteran, he says that he just wants to contribute and help the Warriors in any way he can. I'm a 9-year vet. I've been a starter, I've come off the bench. It doesn't matter to me at this point, I just want to play wherever the coach plays me. I'm at the stage of my career where starting doesn't matter. With Jordan Poole headlining as the team's 6th man, the Warriors bench looks extremely solid with Iguodala as the small forward, Kevon Looney manning the middle, and you got JTA at the 2 spot, and finally Otto Porter Jr. as the power forward. Besides these names, the Warriors also got 2 prized rookies in Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody. If OPJ can be healthy in the next season, the Warriors will have a deep rotation and a solid second unit that can compete with any team on any given night. Meanwhile, the starting lineup would probably consist of very familiar faces with the Splash Brothers manning the backcourt. You got Wiggins at the 3 spot, Draymond as the power forward, and capping off the starting 5 is the returning James Wiseman. Although Klay, Wiseman, and Otto Porter will be coming off their respective injuries, the Warriors will definitely become stronger next season because these 3 men have chips on their shoulders and will have something to prove due to the time they have missed being away from the court. Though that may be the case, the real key in the Warriors' success next season still depends on if they'll be able to be healthy until the end of the regular season. If that happens, they'll surely knock off some powerhouse teams and will definitely present a problem against any team that they'll be matched up with come playoff time. Given that there will be back-to-back games next season, it is no doubt that the Warriors will have to manage their lineup rotations efficiently to avoid the possibility of having injuries in the middle of the season. On that notion, I think the Warriors need to consult and seek health and injury prevention advice from LeBron, who we know is still going strong and will be entering his 19th season at age 36. By the way, speaking of the King, did you know that LeBron and Steph go a long way back and that both of them were born at the same hospital in Ohio? To know more about that and other interesting tales about these 2 superstars, make sure to watch this video featuring the untold story of the Chef and the King. Click it, watch it, and enjoy it. And as always, guys, I will see you on the other side.